Good morning, friends. It's Heather at Bush Poppy Farm. I hope you are doing well today. It's Friday and we're still in a heat wave. It's supposed to be done by now, but it's going to be a number of more days. We're close to 100 every day, so it's been pretty hot and I have gotten not much done outside, but we're under a time crunch. So today we are going to be making way for some garden storage because the storage unit on our driveway goes away tomorrow, which is great. But that means we need to get a move on, get this garden storage built so that I can move everything out here. So where we're putting it is where this birdie's bed is. That bed just doesn't grow much stuff because it's pretty much shaded much of the day. It gets afternoon sun. But I figure we might as well use this space to put a garden shed. It's going to be one of those just low storage things with a lid. And we will store everything we need for the garden out here as well as the chickens. So that will make things a lot better, a lot more functional in the garage. So the first thing I need to do is get the Oyas out of this bed. There are two small ones. You can't even see them right now. They're sunk below the surface. They're going to go in that round bed over there, which does not have any Oyas. Then I probably will just lift the birdie's bed off of this soil. I think it should come off really easily. There's not much soil in it at this point. It's all subsided and there's mostly just rotting cardboard underneath. Then we will try to level out this area. I'll have to move all this stuff, obviously, and then get the shed built, which shouldn't be hard. It's just one of those plastic, I want to do plastic, but we're under a time crunch and it just makes more sense money-wise. It's just one of those like Suncast sheds, so resin sheds. So that's what we're gonna do today, as well as some planting, because things I've got sitting in the shade, they just need to get in the ground, or they're gonna start really suffering in those 6-packs. Those are the ones that I bought earlier in the week. The stuff I put up, the netting, seems to be working. No more digging under there. Nothing has gotten in, and I just water through it. So far, I'm going to say this is pretty much a success. I do need to keep setting traps because I've been catching rats nightly. So I'm not going to stop. I'm just going to keep setting the traps. I would love to have a nice fall garden that isn't eaten alive. So, all right, I'm going to get my tools together so we can get this project off the ground. It's nice and cool right now because we're in the shade, but it's going to get hot later. So we wanted to get as much of this done this morning as possible before the sun really starts baking this area.
My hair on the open road,
Okay, so that was actually pretty easy. I had to stop though, flattening the area out because those little wasps actually do sting. It barely hurts. It's like just you're like, oh, something bit me. That kind of is what it feels like. But they clearly have a thing going on over there, and I want to let them settle down a little bit. Like I said, I've been living in harmony with these wasps for years, since we got the chickens. And this is the first time one of them has ever stung me. So clearly you really need to make them super angry. And it's not like yellow jackets or hornets, which I have been stung by before, which is just like, oh my God, it's so painful. This is like zip, a little zip. Not that I want to keep getting stung. So I'm going to give them their space. But I pulled the irrigation back because that will stay along the fence line because that feeds these other two troughs. And this is good soil here, but I'm going to go ahead and use it to level the area because all we're going to do is put a 2 pallets down, because we have pallets right over here. 2 pallets down to level to put the shed, the storage, it's not a shed, it's like a storage bin on top. It doesn't have the kind of, well, it has a floor, but you don't need to level it like we did out at with a regular shed where people are going to be walking in and out of it and you're going to be storing a lot of stuff. This is just a little, storage box. So all we need is mostly level ground. And so I'll use that soil to, spread throughout there, flatten it out. But I want to give the wasps a chance to settle down a little bit before I do that. So this other birdie's bed, I think so there's no room in this garden for it. So I think I'm going to take it out to the farm. I will put hardwood cloth in the bottom, and that'll just be another enclosed safe space to grow flowers. So in the meantime, I am going to start doing some of the transplanting of all the things that I bought, because it's even though it's going to continue to be hot the next couple of days, I can't keep waiting because they're suffering in those 6-packs. They'd be better off in the ground or in a larger container with more soil that holds more water. They'll be better off. It will regulate the temperature better too. Okay, so not sure what I'm going to start with, but let's go see what we've got. Okay, so these, you can see how they're suffering. We've got that's red kitten spinach back here that I did just deeply water, so it will perk back up. But even the chard is starting to suffer, so I've got to get these guys this lettuce. This one, I don't know if I can revive. Got to get these guys where they belong. Most of this chard and lettuce and the spinach, if I can salvage any, is going to go in that green stalk. The pink one by my bedroom, where it actually gets a lot of sun. There's a lot of heat back there, but I can turn it and keep them in the shade all day long. So I'll just plant one side, and then the other side will be different things. I don't know what I'm going to put in there yet. The flowers and the brassicas, surprisingly, are looking just fine. So I do have a map that I'll show you from seed time where they're going in the garden, but I haven't prepared those places yet. But I have some flowers that also need to go in. This is just a random assortment of things that I need to pop in various places. So trying to decide what the best ones to start with are. And there's a few that I'll need to replace. Like this one fell and got crushed, and so it's just completely damaged. I'll just get another one. This one will still be okay over time. I'll cut it back and like some of that will come back, but it's not going to be pretty for fall. So I'll get another one to match that. It's for the 2 containers outside my bedroom that currently have a struggling tomato and cardinal vine in it. So I will pull that out, put these in, water them deeply, and they'll be fine. The mums can tolerate heat, and they definitely want sun. So, all right, I'm gonna get set up to start working on some of these, and then we'll pick back up. It is so hot. God. And I'm still in the shade, but I'm dripping sweat. Part of that is because I've been in and out of that storage shed up there, and it's an oven in there. But this was super easy. Probably the easiest thing we've ever done, because usually we run into problems. I just used the rake to flatten out the soil a little bit. We put the, I just rolled this, because it's super, super heavy, this pallet from over there. I just rolled it on its sides down the aisle here, laid it flat, and when we put I didn't even mess with it. We put the level on it, it was perfectly level. So then we just carried this out, and I have sorted everything in here. Everything that's in here is stuff that we use in the garden, that I use in the garden. And there's some chicken stuff in here too. So there's like floating row cover, all the fertilizers, irrigation stuff, grow bags, just everything. And you can see these cloches are in here. I am still going to cover those with hardware cloth so that they're double insulated from rats. But yeah, everything is in here, and there's nothing in here that rats are going to eat, because all the grains and stuff for the chickens are actually in there in a galvanized tin, which the rats can't get. I can barely get the lid open on that, and they definitely can't shoot through it. So it'll be protected from the rain and also from the mud. So it's raised up on this pallet, and that will keep everything in there dry, which is great. That's it for this project for now. Still clearly have plenty of space. I could easily fit another pallet right here, and I might do that. I might move one of those pallets here just so that I can then better organize. I have lots of rolls of like chicken wire and hardware cloth and welded wire, and maybe find a way to organize those better. While I was working, you can see all the wasps flying around, I found this. That is a rat burrow going underneath this stock tank that has the passion fruit vines in it. So tonight I'm going to set a whole bunch of traps right there. And I think I've been catching most of what I've been catching, all of it has been down here in this part of the garden. So I think it's from whatever colony is living under here. Now, could I lift that thing up and move it? Sure. But two things, it's really heavy. And it has sunk into the ground a bit because they've been undermining it. And three, I'm not ready to have a bunch of rats running around past my feet when I do that. Plus, there's a lot of wasp activity around it right now. So yeah, I think I'm just gonna set traps. And then after I trap more, then I will, I definitely do want to reseat that, because it has definitely sunk into the ground quite a bit. I want to reseat it so that I can then add more soil to it, and the passion fruit can get, because the passion fruit, I'm amazed that it's still growing, because it's really been it's been treated like crap. It gets water, but not a lot. It hasn't been fertilized in ages. It needs new soil. Like it's very neglected. So once I start treating it better, I think it'll take off in growth. But very happy with this. I have to get what's still in the storage shed, which is all of the bee stuff. And I think that's gonna have to go back in the garage, which is kind of a bummer because we're really running out of space in there, and we wanna keep it open. I don't know if I showed you, after we did the big clean out, we've done some more reorganization and things are a lot better in there. So some of the stuff in here is gonna go away still. It's just in here because we have to get everything out of the storage shed since that's going away tomorrow. So this is gonna be a holding place for a while, but this is my flower station, and I make bouquets and everything on here. Right now it's got a bunch of stuff that I'm gonna put away. I've got some bee stuff here, so I need to find homes for this because I have boxes, bee boxes, and once I get them ready for winter, collapse down the boxes, we'll have extra boxes, so then I'll clean them all up and we'll have to store them somewhere where they won't get damaged from like sun and rain. You know, I might have to repaint them, that kind of thing. So this is my flower station. These are my flower picking buckets. They just go back out to the farm. That's why those are there. This is urn filler for fall for my front porch that we found up in the attic where we keep, not in the attic, in the rafters up here where we keep all of our decorations. I haven't been using it for years because I've been planting live things, but you know what? I think I'm going to use it this year. And the reason is that what I currently have in that urn is dead. And it's really hard to find some fall stuff that can deal with 100% shade. So I kind of struggle with that. I always put mums out there, but then they die pretty quickly because they're not getting enough sun. So I think I'm just gonna stick with the fake stuff. I have them in boxes here. Okay, so that's that. And then we invested in getting this is I think it's PRX, yeah, system. So this rack folds down and the bench folds down, and then our rowing machine, which Mike got me for Christmas last year, I think off of Craigslist, that comes apart. So we can pull all this out and work out pretty quickly, pretty easily. So instead, there used to be the gym was right here and took over this whole half of the garage. So it's kind of nice to have that all tucked away. Mike's bikes are all tucked away now, hanging and everything. And then over here, we were gonna put a workbench in, but honestly, it's not like we're doing a bunch of like carpentry or anything like that. We just need a place to charge all the batteries and store tools, etc. So this is that setup now. More storage here, and then all this stuff is like, you know, the usual stuff, camping gear, things like that. But this is a much bigger open space. We got to get rid of those tires because we don't have a vehicle for them anymore. But it's much more open in here. And so to bring in the additional stuff, so the things that are still out are things that are going to go. The additional bee boxes and stuff, I want to find a location for them that aren't going to take up a whole bunch of space. They'll be tucked out of the way. But it's just better for me to have them here in the garage because the hives are literally right around the corner here. I don't want to have to go to the back of the house and get all that stuff out to bring it all up front. So at this point, it's just going to be about finding the right spots to tuck those things in. Okay, I'm super, super hot. Still have more emptying of the container to do, but I think I'm gonna wait after I eat and come back out and do that. And then when it cools down a little bit this afternoon, we'll start putting some of these lettuces and stuff into the green stock in the back. They have bounced back a bit, they look better. So for the ones that are still looking healthy, we'll go on and transplant those. And then I think I'm gonna put these guys, these are two decorative mums right here in these two containers. There's lavender that's doing well over there. I will pull that up and just transplant it somewhere in the garden. This one's struggling. I'll pull that up and transplant it as well. It'll probably do a lot better, but I'll empty these containers out, put fresh soil in there and transplant those mums. And the mums will do great here because it's direct sun all day long. They'll love it. And they're perennial here. So they'll die back in the winter and I can give them a sharp haircut, but then they will come back next year. And as long as I keep cutting them, they'll stay short and fluffy like that and they won't get tall and spindly. So I think that's the plan. Now, over time, if we decide that we're gonna stay in this house long term, and I know that sounds crazy because we just did all this renovation. This driveway is falling apart. It is sliding down the hill. We're gonna have to have the whole thing redone. But we'll probably also, even though this is a native bed, it's fine for now, but this is usable space and we can level it, gravel it, and put some very pretty wood sheds here and build something to hide the garbage cans from the road. But we're not there yet. That was a big expenditure and it would have taken a lot of time. And we just needed something quick. So for all the big tools like the rakes and the lawnmower and all the things that we pretty much only use in the back because there's grass back there, that we have a different shed for that's gonna go on the back porch and that'll hold all the tall stuff. So even though we'll have to, whenever we need to bring that stuff out to the farm, we'll have to go around the back of the house to grab it and put it in the car and all that. I mean, the batteries are up here anyway, so it is what it is. And even though we try for efficiency, sometimes you do the best you can do. Okay, so it's later in the day, it's 3:30, and it's not at all cooler. In fact, it's hotter. It's 99 degrees Fahrenheit right now in the shade, but this heat wave is going to end tonight, and tomorrow it's going to be 82 degrees Fahrenheit. So it is entirely okay and appropriate that I can transplant these lettuces and stuff. So this is the green stalk that I was talking about. Surrounding you that you can't really see right now, thank goodness, is construction equipment and materials everywhere. This is an absolute disaster back here. We cannot wait to clean this up. Okay, this summer, early this summer. I think it was like June or something. I put this in and we put peppers in the top ring, and some of them did good. There's one little bell pepper right here, and we got some cachuchas off of it. But the other stuff that I planted struggled. This area of the property, this is a corner of the house. We're surrounded on both sides. The sun rises right over here and then it sets over there. So it's in the shade in the afternoon, but it gets morning sun, and right around noon, when the sun's like right here, it's really hot. So I think even the nasturtium suffered. But I think also that if I had, in addition to watering at the top, if I had also watered the pockets themselves, that would have helped. And basically I direct sowed everything in here. So I'm not too shocked that it didn't work. I mean, I've still got some salvias and stuff here that I'm going to leave in, but things like chamomile and some of the lettuces and stuff that I sowed, they just didn't make it. That's okay. So because of that, I'm not going to replace the soil in here. I'm just going to add a little bit of vegetable and fruit fertilizer to the pockets that I'm planting. The soil is basically unused and it's been watered all year. So I'm just going to add a little bit of fertilizer and it'll be fine. But I am going to clean this up first, take out the stuff I don't want to keep, and then we will put in our lettuces. I think we're going to put in this Buttercrunch lettuce. This is Bistro Salad Blend lettuce. I think I'm going to save the chard and we'll put in this spinach instead. The chard I think we could put in the front garden. Looking rough, I'm going to peel off the parts that got, kind of overly hot. But it feels good, and these leaves up here are in good shape. So I think that will be good for this green stalk. And like I said, I'm going to save a few. We've got some pineapple sage, and pineapple sage, and then regular white sage here, which is in great shape. So we'll pull out the rest of the stuff, get these guys planted, and then maybe we'll do something else today. Just depends on how I feel afterwards. It's so hot out here. Okie dokie, here we go. All planted up. I mean, they're looking super rough right now, but that's because I saturated them with water and they're floppy. I think overnight they'll hydrate and they'll be good. But I ended up putting in the Swiss chard because I had space. So this whole tower is lettuces, spinach,
and Swiss chard, with a few exceptions. These peppers, deeply rooted, and I fertilize, so they're looking rough because they're really light colored. They just desperately need fertilization. I don't expect them to produce more this year, but I'm going to overwinter them in here. I normally overwinter peppers in the greenhouse, but you know what? These are nicely rooted. It can't hurt. Worst case is they die. So I'm going to try that. And then of course we still have some herbs that are in here that are going to stay. So I did deeply water each individual pocket because even though I had already watered the whole tower, the pockets were still really dry. I think it's just been so hot that there's just the drip was not enough. So super deeply watered. I will do that again tomorrow to try to make sure that everything stays hydrated. Should be a lot cooler tomorrow. Shouldn't be as big of a deal. I think that's going to be it for me. I'm hot. It's really hot. I want to go in and edit and get this done and shower. That's what I really want to do. But tomorrow we've got a couple of projects. Firstly, I'm going to pull this cardinal flower and stuff, and there was a tomato here and there is one over there. Pull these out of those pots, and that's where the red mums are going to go, and they should fill those pots nicely. However, I do need to buy one more because that one that fell got super damaged and it won't look nice. We'll put the yellow chrysanthemums in those two containers that currently have the lavender that flank the gate to the garden. And then we've got more vegetables, cabbages and some kale, I think collards, there's a whole bunch of stuff. That's going to start going into the front garden. So I have a bag of soil out there. I will dress the tops of the beds where I'm going to put them in, put in some fertilizer, dry fertilizer, reset the irrigation, and plant those so they can get started. The ones in the greenhouse are looking great. They need to get a little bit bigger before they go in the ground, but they're looking really good. And because I've been making such progress on killing the rats in the front garden, I think we have a good chance of having a decent fall garden. I'm just going to really stay on it. So that'll be tomorrow. And then also coming up, I got a box of irises from Shriner's Irises and Bearded Iris, and they're gorgeous. I cannot wait to show you. We're going to plant them up in here in this cottage garden. I want to really fill the cottage garden with lots and lots of irises because they come on a little bit later, like early to midsummer, and at that point a lot of the spring color has faded, and I'd like to really fill this area in. So we'll do that as well. All right, that's all coming up. But for today, that's all. Thanks for hanging out with me. I hope you guys have a wonderful time in your garden, and I will see you in the next one. Bye.